At the 90-day mark of Pam Bondi's tenure as Attorney General of the United States, a rigorous assessment of the Department of Justice's performance under her stewardship reveals a pattern of legal setbacks, administrative turmoil, and strategic missteps that call into question the integrity and effectiveness of the nation's chief law enforcement institution, AMU. What began with high expectations for a seasoned leader has, by all observable measures, devolved into a series of losses and controversies that have undermined both the department's internal morale and its standing in the federal judiciary. Since assuming office at the beginning of February, Attorney General Bondi's department has defended the administration against more than 150 separate lawsuits nationwide. Far from showcasing robust legal acumen, this barrage of litigation has yielded an alarming rate of judicial rebuke. Federal courts have issued nearly 70 injunctions, preventing the enforcement of policies advanced by Bondi's team, an accomplishment of such frequency that it rivals the total number of injunctions secured during the entire first term of the previous administration. Lawyers with over 3 decades of experience attest that obtaining an injunction is by no means routine. The ease with which these orders have been granted speaks to the extreme constitutional and legal deficiencies inherent in the department's arguments. Equally troubling are the losses at the United States Supreme Court. In recent sessions, the department has failed to secure a single victory, suffering unanimous or near unanimous defeats by vote margins as wide as 9-0 or 7-2 in its challenges to litigation brought by civil rights groups. Such outcomes not only highlight the isolation of Bondi's legal positions, but also risk eroding the credibility of career DOJ, attorneys tasked with defending the administration in the nation's highest tribunal. Central to these legal failures is a breakdown in the advisory role traditionally played by the Attorney General. Reports indicate that President Trump routinely ignores Bondi's counsel, sidelining her recommendations on policy and statutory interpretation. The result is a leadership vacuum in which neither the White House nor the DOJ can present a coherent, unified legal strategy. This dissonance has exacerbated a brain drain within the department. Seasoned prosecutors and civil rights litigators have resigned in droves, unwilling to associate their careers with arguments they deem legally flawed or ethically questionable. Those who remain are left to navigate a poisoned work environment, taking on positions that not only flout established jurisprudence, but also expose them to potential disciplinary actions for professional misconduct. Indeed, at least one federal judge has signaled intent to refer a DOJ attorney for criminal contempt proceedings, citing a probable cause that department lawyers knowingly misled the court. A rare and severe accusation. Civil contempt proceedings are likewise underway in Maryland, further testament to the department's eroding respect for judicial authority and procedural norms. Several incidents have crystallized the department's mismanagement. Unlawful deportation of a 2-year-old U.S. citizen. In Louisiana, a federal judge with conservative leanings intervened after a 2-year-old child, born on American soil, was deported to Honduras without a hearing. The child's mother had consented in Spanish via a handwritten note. The U.S. citizen father's objection went unheeded. The judge publicly admonished the DOJ for due process violations, raising profound questions about the department's respect for fundamental constitutional rights. Memo leak in the Southern District of New York. During litigation against the Transportation Secretary, a confidential attorney-client memo, never intended for public view, was inexplicably filed on the court docket. Rather than immediately rectify the error, DOJ leadership chose to attack the local U.S. Attorney's Office, alleging partisan motives. The episode laid bare both administrative incompetence and a corrosive culture of distrust between Washington and field offices. Miss 13 indictment debacle. With much fanfare, Bondi traveled to Virginia to announce the indictment of an alleged Mr. Teen Gang leader for purported triumph in the war on organized crime. Yet, within days and under the cover of darkness, the department quietly dismissed the charges, citing undisclosed evidentiary issues. Legal analysts have dismissed the announcement as a performative art, illustrating a penchant for spectacle over substantive prosecutorial rigor. In a departure from prior policy, the Bondi-led DOJ has signalled its intent to subpoena reporters' records in leak investigations, abandoning a long-standing practice of refraining from compelling journalists to disclose sources. Such a shift not only threatens the First Amendment's protection of press freedom, but also undermines an essential check on governmental power. Publicly, the department defends this move as necessary to combat unauthorized disclosures. Privately, it reveals a desire to insulate policymakers from accountability. The cumulative effect of these developments has reverberated in public opinion. A big opinion. Recent national polls indicate that 62% of Americans believe the country is headed in the wrong direction, a 30-point deficit that spans party lines. Independents, who initially offered the Bondi administration a benefit of the doubt, now oppose it by margins exceeding 70%. 70%. Even within the Republican base, more than a quarter express concern over the administration's trajectory. Such erosion of confidence poses significant risks as the nation approaches midterm elections and heightens scrutiny of the DOJ's role as a non-partisan arbiter of the law. As Attorney General, Pam Bondi presides over a Department of Justice beset by record legal defeats, fractured internal dynamics, and controversial policy reversals. The evidence suggests that dramatic reforms are required, ranging from renewed respect for judicial processes to restoration of professional morale among career attorneys. Absent such course corrections, the DOJ risks forfeiting not only its reputation, but also the foundational principles of justice it was created to uphold. In the crucible of public and judicial examination, the next 90 days will prove decisive. Will the department recommit itself to impartial enforcement of the law, or will it continue its current trajectory toward institutional decline? The answer will shape both the balance of power within the federal government and the enduring health of American democracy. Looking ahead, restoring the Department of Justice's credibility will require decisive actions. First, Congress should initiate rigorous oversight hearings to examine the disconnect between the Attorney General's office and career prosecutors, demanding testimony on the criteria used to approve or override legal strategies. Such transparency will help identify whether political considerations have eclipsed sound legal judgment. Second, the department's Inspector General must undertake a comprehensive audit of key decisions made during Bondi's tenure, particularly those leading to high-profile losses and ethical inquiries. Public release of this report would bolster confidence that internal accountability mechanisms remain robust, even under political pressure. Third, renewed efforts to recruit and retain experienced litigators are essential. Incentivizing senior talent through clearer career paths and reaffirmed commitments to apolitical decision-making will stem the current exodus of skilled professionals. This talent infusion should be paired with structured mentorship programs to rebuild institutional knowledge eroded by recent departures. Finally, safeguarding press freedoms must become a non-partisan priority. Re-establishing the DOJ's previous restraint on compelling journalists' records would signal a recommitment to First Amendment values. As the midterms approach and broader debates about executive power intensify, the Attorney General's willingness to prioritize legal integrity over political expediency will determine not only the department's future, but also the health of American democracy itself. Enter.